skating. I was smitten, I was bitten by the bug, and I had to do it. And I thought I could maybe learn how to skate in about 3 weeks' time. I thought 3 weeks, that's cool. I saw a poster for a race, and so I got my skates, and I went and practiced. And I found out that there was more to it than met the eye. I found out that I was getting a lot of feedback from my feet and my back. I got blisters, and I got a sore back. And it was hard for me to figure out how to do this, but after I got lapped 3 times in this race by the 67-year-old guy, someone took me aside and they offered me a few pointers. One of them was, they said, well, if you can learn how to balance on one skate, then you'll be able to save a lot of energy. And so that was my first tip. And another person said, well, if you can just carve with your heel at the end of your push, you get a lot more out of your skating push too. And another guy said, oh, don't bend over so much at the waist, you gotta bend at the knees, pretend like you're sitting in a chair. So all of these tips I was able to slowly start incorporating into my skating, and I wanted to share a few of them with you, little shortcuts to help you have a more fun race. So the first thing I want to talk about is the idea of doing the least amount of work possible when you're out there skating, because you want to have tons of energy left over for yelling, encouraging people on, and for turning it on when you want to. If you see someone go by, you want to be able to hop onto them. All these sorts of things are important. So this idea of practicing the principle of least work is super important. You know how water, when it falls on the mountaintop and goes towards the sea, it doesn't go up and over things, it takes the easiest path down to the ocean. So as skaters, we have to take the easiest path to the finish line. And that means being able to find your balance over your skates, because typically most people skate like this. You see this triangle? This is a not an isosceles triangle, but it's isosceles triangle. You see I have 2 even sides here, and my weight, more importantly, my body weight is in between my skates. Most people do skate like this. This is called the Frankenstomp. Frankenstomp. And this is actually going to, you see how my ankles pronate? Because my weight is in between my skates, and I lift up one skate, collapse, and I fall right back onto it. A very common problem. This will give you sore feet, sore ankles, blisters. So, you don't want to do this. You want to practice the skater's mantra, which is nose, knees, toes. And if you can keep your alignment nose, knees, toes, then you'll find that you actually start riding the center seams of your wheels. The center seams of your wheels. And furthermore, you're using the primary movers. Your primary muscles, your hams and your quads and your glutes. And you're not using all these secondary stabilizer muscles in your shins. If anybody has ever had sore shins, you know that it's because you haven't quite found your balance over your skates. So you're flexing your muscles unnecessarily in order to regain your balance. Well, if you can keep your nose and your knees and your toes in a straight line, you'll find that it becomes much easier to balance, and you can relax. You can actually relax. Yeah? So, very important also to sit in the air chair while you maintain this nose, knees, toes balance. Because when you're in the air chair, then your weight is back on your heels. And that's exactly where you want to push. Because if you can push through your heels, there are a few good things that are happening. One is that you're pushing through the long axis of your leg and right through the bone. If you can push through the bone, then you're going to get a much more powerful push each time. See how I push through the bone? Whereas if I push through my toes and I actually use my calves and dorsiflex, I'm not going to be transferring my power through my glute and my quad and my hands through my wheels. I'm going to be losing a lot by lifting my heel inside my shoe, and that's what's going to give me blisters. So if you want to avoid blisters once and for all, number one, make sure that you maintain nose, knees, toes, balance, alignment every time. And also that you push through the bone, through your heels. Because when you push through your heels and you don't raise your toe, your heel up in your shoe, then you avoid all kinds of problems. So very good to maintain alignment for your balance, and also to push through the bone using your heel wheels. So everybody knows what the difference is between a whack, whack, whack and a right? Between a duck and a pigeon. So you actually start every push open like a duck, because just standing here is going to be impossible to get moving unless I open my skate angle in relation to the direction I'm going. If I open my skate angle in relation to the direction I'm going, it's very easy to take a push. Very easy to push. But if I keep my skate angle open all the time, then I run out of leg length very quickly. My push is over and I have to take many little pushes in order to keep up my speed. So what you want to do when you're pushing is actually to close off your skate angle during your push. And that makes it more difficult to fully extend your leg, and you get so much power that way. So if you can see me, as I'm pushing, I'm actually carving with my heels. And this is how you get unbelievable power when you carve with your heels. Yeah? So we have talked about a few things in order to make our feet happy, and that is, number one, is to push through the bone, because if you push off your toe like so many people do, then you lift your heel up inside your skate, and all that friction causes blisters, yeah? So another way to keep your feet happy, therefore, is to have good balance. Because remember, if your weight is distributed in between your skates, then you're collapsing, and there's a lot of friction on the inside of your skates then too. So it's really important to get your nose, knees, and toes lined up. And if anybody has ever told you to put your knees together, that's what it all means. When you get your knees together, then you get your center of mass, all of your weight, over your pushing skate. That's what you want. You get the best possible push if 100% of your weight is over that pushing skate. If you don't get your knees together, then you have one leg hanging off to the side, and you have maybe 60% of your weight over your pushing skate instead of 100%. So you want to get those knees together. Yeah? So another thing that people probably have experienced is a sore back. A sore back. And I was amazed when I went to Holland and saw the people skating there. They were literally standing straight up with their upper body, but yet they were sitting deeply like this, which was amazing to see. Yeah? But people were sitting in what's called the imaginary air chair. And if you, instead of bending at the waist and think that you're skating low and aerodynamically, like most people do, you have to actually stand up a little taller with your upper body and sit in the air chair. And that way you get a much longer extension. But more importantly, check out where my center of mass is in relation to my skates. If I'm up here, then my upper body is hanging over empty space. Empty space. And then I get a sore back, obviously. There's nothing supporting my back here. So when you start getting a sore back, remind yourself to stand up a little bit and to sit down on your haunches. On your haunches, in this way, you have all of your primary muscles supporting yourself. You have your glutes and your hams and your quads, and your stomach even, supporting your back. And furthermore, you want to do everything that your mother told you not to do at the dinner table. Remember how your mother said, sit up straight, don't slouch, all those things. Well, as a skater, you want to do exactly that. You want to slouch, you want to let your shoulders droop, because this way, you have lots of space in between your vertebrae, and you are not taking away blood flow. If you're all swan diving like this, then you're scrunching up your back, and it will cramp up on you, because you're contracting your muscles the whole time, yeah, and you're not giving yourself a chance to breathe. So very important to round out your back like an angry kitty. An angry kitty does the same thing, rounds out her back. So as skaters, you want to do this too. Yes, do you have a question up there? No questions. Okay. So many other things that we can do in order to be happier skaters. And I can tell you that